We're chasing a car right now, and I got a photo yesterday, and it sort of reminded me to always keep the faith and your belief that everything will work out. And this may be one of the better stories, and this insane piece. Factory show car built by Vector that was hand painted, and we have to do a little research on that today. We are working on buying this car, chasing this car, pursuing this car. So yeah, I think we've got to get a little bit background on this photo, and I'm going to show you guys this photo. There she is. This is sometime in the late 90s, maybe mid 90s. Vector M12 hand painted, and currently a very good client, a very passionate Lamborghini collector, a multi-mark collector, Bugatti, Lamborghini. That by pure chance we got a phone call about this car, and I had known that he had been around the car, seen the car many years ago. This car hasn't been seen publicly for probably 20 years.
Hello?
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
So you got to give me a little context about the photo. It made my day yesterday when you sent me that photo. How old are you there?
Man, I was 25. So that picture was taken, the guy that ended up being my mentor and that basically helped me become, where I'm at, fast forward, 25 years. That was actually at his car collection. We were visiting because I worked for him for a period of time, and and we were standing there in front of the Vector.
Awesome, brother. Well, have a great day, and I'll keep you posted, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man. We're going to take you on a journey. One of my dreams always has been to put together what I call the One Collection, which is a collection that I think we have this weird opportunity right at this moment to put together one of the most incredible collection of one-off Lamborghinis that are not in the museum, have escaped the museum, or somehow went into circulation and currently aren't with the largest Lamborghini collection in the world, which is in Switzerland. That is a museum collection, or the factory museum itself. There are a lot of historical items in this box, things that I've been looking for 8-10 years. A massive thank you to Peter, a fellow Diablo SV owner from the UK. So thank you again, massive thank you, and let's jump into unboxing some history. First thing here, early right-hand drive Diablo, cover of Autocar magazine. These pieces are so great. And then here is this is the Grail items. I've actually never seen this, but it looks like this is a company brochure featuring basically different scenes. I've seen some of these photos in the Lamborghini yearbook, but different scenes from the factory, the Formula One car, the championship winning boat, obviously the SE30 prototype, Toyota engine modification kit. Automobiles research department have developed a modification. So cool. This is from Lamborghini Great Britain. The improvements of the engine performance take the output of the SE engine from an already excellent 525 horsepower to a staggering 580 horsepower. It includes a study of the engine and the Yoda kit. Wow, that is cool. I've been looking for this for years. So again, thank you to Peter. That is amazing. And then we are not done yet. This is the early Diablo brochure. And this is the first press release for the famous Diablo GT2, the one-off car that we had the opportunity of buying a few years ago. If you guys don't know, we have had our hands on almost everything that's been produced between the 1980s and about 2005 from a Lamborghini prototype point of view. There might be a few cars that we are missing. Those are either still sitting at the factory museum or with Albert Spies, one of the most important collectors, Lamborghini collectors in the world. Very cool. Okay, there's a Koenig special brochure. That is cool to see. And then 99. So the Diablo update, original press photos and press material. And the final thing in here. Oh, this is epic. This is so cool. I think between my father and I, we have all of these items. This was the Lamborghini line of accessories. This was probably around 91, 92, 93. This leather jacket, which is super rare. My father has this, and then the Diablo jacket you'll see here. They did one more version of this jacket that I have, which is a 30th anniversary jacket for SC30 owners. And then they did this special bronze model, which is 650 units for the 25th anniversary, just basically production numbers. My father has number 90. He requested that because 90 was the last year of the 25th anniversary. And then I know he has this hat. I actually have seen this hat. I know he has the umbrella. As we dive more into the merch campaign, I think we have to dive into some of these incredible pieces. I have never seen this brochure. My father hasn't even seen this brochure. So that is so cool to see. This is some super Lamborghini nerd stuff right here. We are coming into the 10-year anniversary of the official start of Curated, and I have to tell you, it's been the most surreal experience, the most incredible journey. That being said, with a lot of factors and a lot of changes, and the last 60 days have probably been some of the most trying, tough, difficult times that I've had in a very, very long time. My co-founder and business partner of the last 10 plus 12 years, Jordi has left us for the temporary moment to pursue a dream of his, which is basically traveling the world on a sailboat, doing a world circumnavigation. So thankfully, Jordi did an incredible job before he left with new hires, new management software, new management systems, keeping the center of the original vision pure. Very emotional time and a massive shift, which is all exciting. But as you guys can imagine, this is all in a moment also when we faced, and we've talked about this a little bit, the tariff scares and all of these crazy shipping issues that we've had. 30 to 40% of our business is buying cars, chasing cars outside of the US. So I don't know what we're going to do with this yet. And the theme is sort of perfect. You think about the 4th of July is upcoming. This is so cool. This is an incredible piece. I've actually never seen this car in person. We are in the process of trying to buy it. Potentially the former owner might actually want to restore it. It needs to be restored. This car is way too important. And the reason why it is actually an American flag scheme is because this was the first US driver in the Diablo SVR Super Trophy series. So this car originally was painted by the factory with an American flag. It was not this scheme. It was actually Rosso Targa with a big stripe in the middle, white stripes and some blue accents. So it was like that pink metallic color. And then after, I believe, the first race, this car was then painted to this scheme. During this time, I believe in the first year, this car actually won the championship in 1996 for the SVR series. Then it famously came to the US. So Mr. Ron Atapatu, who was very, very important at that time in the US and with Lamborghini and in the racing series, he actually still races Super Trofeo today. He ended up racing an FIA GT as well. There's some stories of a McLaren F1. Some really, really great stories. We actually have to dive into the history of this car a little bit more. But when it came to the US, someone actually road registered it and they turned this car into a street car. So they put the front end of a Diablo 6.0. Listen, at one point this car was an $80,000 car. So to do something like this was not seen that bad. You could actually tell it's a 6.0 front end because the wheel is so far in. The 6.0 is a wider car. So we need to source an original front end and restore this car. We're negotiating the deal now. We'll see what actually happens. I think this is such a cool piece of history. It's cool to see this car in person, and what a great tie-in with the Vector. I think now we're gonna jump into some research and definitely try to understand a little bit more about this Vector as well. Wow, so this is so cool. So we need to get this guy on the phone, Michael Santoro, as the consulting designer for Vector Aeromotive Competition. So basically, Vector at the time wanted to promote that the production cars were being built in the United States. So here's the original design. There is him hand painting the car. Wow, Daytona USA Speedway. That is cool. And I didn't realize his signature. We have to reach out to this guy. So yeah, still in the same livery, same condition. From our understanding, about 1,200 miles.
Wow.
The car hasn't been seen in a long time. Heard a rumor about it from our colleague and dear friend John Hooper. Somewhere in the Midwest, we heard about it. He immediately flew up there, inspected the car. I called our customer and I said, didn't you used to know this car? And he freaked out and he's like, please, I need it. You have to get it for me. Listen, this is a dream come true if we can make this all happen. And imagine getting it here before 4th of July. So if you think about all of the factory one-offs or V12s of the late 80s, early 90s, we know when you're talking about pure one-offs, not just prototypes, obviously the Countach L150, Sergio and Herschel ended up in Japan looking at that car, chasing that potential collection down. And that car is a potential still opportunity. Maybe we can convince the owner to sell. It would take a new world record for any Countach variant to try to purchase that car, a true one-off. And then you get into the Diablo Roadster concept, which was shown. My understanding, it does not have an engine. It was just a rolling model. And then you have the SE30 prototype, which, as you guys know, we sold a few years ago, and we have been preparing that car to show at Pebble Beach or wherever one day. And right now, I'm in the process of trying to negotiate to purchase that car back because this is a dream to try to have all these cars together. Then you have two more cars. One is sitting here. This is the Diablo GT2. So it's the first Diablo with a carbon body, first Diablo with the 6-liter engine, the first Diablo, we believe, with open headlights and the GT front hood. So you have this car. Then you have the Diablo VTR, some people call SVRR, so it's the SVR Roadster, a true one-off. I have been trying to buy this car for a decade. The owner has an incredible collection. He is not interested in selling. He's turned down some very large numbers. And that car should be part of this collection, but I don't know if I can actually buy it. I will try. And then you have the car that we're restoring now. I don't know if the owner will sell, but maybe there's something we could put together. That is the Yoda P01 GT. That is the first ever Lamborghini race car documented, which is completely insane if you think about that. And the first Diablo we know with a Yoda kit made for Noritake, the famous Japanese collector. So then you fast forward, and then when you think of one-offs, I would say you can talk about the Kanto. There was more Kantos than actually produced. I know the factory has the Kanto. There was the Kala, which is a V10 car that's in the museum. That's not going anywhere. We will not have the opportunity, or anyone will have the opportunity to buy that. And then we can start to head into the 2000s. Now, many, many years ago, if you guys don't remember, I would say in the early 2000s, there's three really important prototypes and show cars. That's the Gallardo Concept S, which we sold about a year ago. The Murcielago RGT, so the famous Bear carbon car, which we sold maybe 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And the famous Murcielago Roadster concept car, which was actually called the Murcielago Barchetta, I think. So when you think of one-offs, with the exception of the museum cars, they're a potential world of opportunities today. And when you think of the price of all these cars, listen, it's a lot of money, but I think, potentially you could buy each car between $2 and $3 million which if we were talking about Ferrari examples or things like that, one-offs, the number would be much, much greater. So I think we have this one moment in time now to put together this collection. I don't know if the owner of the Gallardo Concept S will sell or the Murcielago GT. I do not know, and we're going to do some research, what happened to the first Murcielago Barchetta. I don't know if it was a running car. I really don't know much about it, but we are going to dive into some of these details and see what we can actually find and discover during this process. I think now's the moment. What other way to think bigger or dream bigger? And we will see. So officially, okay, we're 10 years now, but officially, before Curated even started, technically, yes, you moved the Ferrari Enzo, which it was the last Enzo ever made.
I'll never forget that story. When you came up and you said, "Oh, listen, I need you to move the car real quick." I'm like, "Okay, cool. What is it?" It's just a Ferrari. And because before that, you had told me to, take a car to Orlando, and you got me, and I was like, "Man, John, I can't do it for that price." Whatever. He said, "Don't worry about it. It's going real close by." So I said, "Okay, what is it?" It's a Ferrari. And then I have the picture. You want to see it? I still have it here. So I get there, and then you told me this is the car right here. And I'm like, "What in the world is this? It's a transfer." I didn't know how to even start it. You took a chance on me. I don't know what it was. I want to go ahead and dig deeper. Why you like? Why
you know what it was?
Me?
It was your character. And I tell people that all the time. Like,
sure? It wasn't because the other guy disappeared on you?
No.
Okay.
If I always think you have to give someone a benefit of the doubt and someone based on their personality and character. Right. And I would say sometimes talent is less important than attitude. Okay. Like I rather surround myself with. You were very humble. I rather surround myself with people that are just amazing people than like crazy talent, because amazing people will get the job done. And you want to surround yourself with that good energy. Yeah. No, and you had that good, bro. You had that good energy from day one.
Thank you. That was back in the days, obviously, before Instagram, when Instagram was like, you had 50,000 followers. You were like, making
that was a big thing. Imagine Enzos back then were $2.5 million.
What are they going for now?
They're like 5 to 6 for that, for a good car.
So you told me that you wrote it down here. I have the screenshot of it. And you said, the only person I trust with my $2.5 million Enzo is Marty from Professional. When you said that, that was like, you co-signed me. Like, everybody was like, well, if you can move John's $2 million car, you can move my car. Ever since then.
That's what we do.
So I'm very appreciative. I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Love you, man.
Love you too. As a matter of fact, I got my truck outside, so I gotta go.
In this 10th year, even with a difficult last 2 months and a lot of things going on, I think you can find a beautiful hope and excitement in purpose in what we're doing here. And it's fulfilling dreams, whether it's a stakeholder that now has 10 trucks that we've known for 12 years, whether it's my business partner who's pursuing the dreams of traveling around the world, a client who started as a sales guy, ended up building this incredible business and now purchasing a dream car, or our personal dreams, new location, this Lamborghini collection. So it's all a dream, it's all surreal. And it's just such an honor to share the journey with you guys. Stay tuned. Part 2 is coming very soon, and I promise you there's going to be some really interesting content.